Hello everyone, welcome back. I've got another vintage guitar today, and this is a slightly unusual acoustic. It's part of the REVO range. This is the Vintage REVO Elektra in natural silk finish. There's a couple of obvious kind of striking things that you'll notice about it. First up, it's got two controls on the top. It's got a pickup mounted here. It's got a 6-a-side headstock on a maple neck, which is bolted to the body. So let's talk about the body and the construction and stuff, and then we'll talk about kind of what it is, what it sounds like, what the electrics do, because this is really, I think this is really a guitar designed for stage performance more than anything else. So let's start by talking about the woods. So we've got a spruce top on here, and then we've got acacia back and sides. The back has got this rather nice kind of binding actually through the middle, binding all the way round. It's a very pretty gloss finish guitar. Well, they call it natural silk, but I think that's just because the other two finishes in the range, I believe there's a kind of burst and a coloured one. You've got a wooden rosette round here. It has got, where are we? Let me just double check, 20 frets, and we've got a 25.5-inch scale length on here, so it's kind of longer scale length. The neck on here is obviously kind of a fairly big departure from most acoustic guitars. It's essentially an electric guitar neck bolted to an acoustic guitar. The REVO range, because it's inspired by guitars from the kind of 60s, the more unusual, slightly kind of off-brand guitars. There were particularly European brands where bolt-on necks like this were used, maybe not commonly, but they were used, and I've played a few. It means that you can have a comfortable neck. It means that if you want to change the neck, you can do that too really easily. And things like neck angle adjustment, which is always traditionally a thing that you have to deal with on acoustic guitars, that can be a bit of a pain, is super easy because it's just a bolt-on neck. So if you need to adjust the neck angle, you can shim it. Let's talk about some of the other things that are on here. It's a big body guitar. You heard me playing acoustically in the intro there, just through this microphone, but it does have electrics on here. So this guitar fitted here is an Allen Entwhistle XS75. I think it's the neodymium one, according to the specs on the website. It's a single coil, neodymium pickup, magnetic. There's no preamp, so there's no battery needed for this guitar at all, which is good. And then we've got two controls mounted on the top here. The front one is our master volume, and the back one is actually the Alan Wilkinson ATN5, which I believe stands for Alan's Tone Network. Let me talk you through that. I have used this on another one of these vintage REVO guitars, on an electric, but it works differently and also quite nicely on the acoustic. I was pleasantly surprised actually. So you heard me playing through the microphone at the beginning. Let's dive straight into the pickup. First of all, we're going to hear it without the ATN5 engaged. The ATN5 is essentially a kind of a 5-position preset tone control. You can think about it like that. It doesn't work the same way as a traditional tone control because there's a little coil in there and it's using inductance and capacitance and all sorts of stuff. But essentially it's a 5-position preset tone control. So we're going to hear it now. I'm going to turn the guitar up. This is the pickup on its own with the ATN5 disengaged. So this is what it sounds like. So not bad actually. I think I prefer that to the sound of most undersaddle piezo pickups for sure. Let's hear it now. I'm going to work my way through the tone controls. I'm just going to go through the next setting. So So to my ears, I'm listening back on my studio monitors, by the way, that's what I'm using for reference in here. I think that already sounds nicer than the pickup just on its own. I'm going to carry on going round. So which way? That way. This is the way I'm going. nice. It's tamed the kind of top end there, which I like. Let's go for the next stage. So that affected the mid-range a bit more than anything else, I think, didn't it? Next one, and the last one. And I think that's probably my favourite. That one or position 2. But you can hear from that, because you were just hearing the guitar then, that was just the DI signal. This microphone wasn't turned on. So it does help to make the guitar sound a bit more like a natural acoustic guitar. And I have a feeling it's going to hold up super well in live performance because it's a magnetic pickup. You're going to get far fewer feedback problems than you might do, particularly in a kind of loud band setting. I think this guitar would really shine in that. If you're playing kind of rhythm acoustic guitar in a full band, this thing's going to sit in the mix nicely. You're not going to have any feedback problems. It's a good solution for that. The ATN5, like I said, it's a bit of a surprise in there because I thought it was an unusual choice, but actually having used it and listened to it, I think it's really good. So there we go. I like the block inlays. I think it looks kind of funky in a nice way. And it'll, you know, it'll upset acoustic guitar purists, which is quite nice too. But there we go. That's the REVO Elektra in natural silk. I'm going to play out. I'm going to keep on the DI settings. What I'm going to do quickly before I do that, though, is I'm just going to play a G chord through each of the ATN5 settings, so you can hear how it sounds. So this is a G chord, starting with it off and working my way back round. I'm going to go back the other way now, but with a bit more strumming. So there we go. I think my least favourite setting is the one where the ATN is disengaged. So that's, you know, that speaks kind of well of the ATN5, doesn't it? It's worth mentioning that with acoustic guitar strings, the metal that they're made of is different to electric guitar strings. So generally speaking, it's not as magnetic. So you might, if you've got a guitar like this, which has got, you know, a magnetic pickup as the sole pickup source, you might want to try experimenting with different types of strings. So strings with different kind of metal compounds that make them up. There are some that are specifically made to use with acoustic instruments that have magnetic pickups. So it's worth maybe searching some of those out, because otherwise what can happen is the treble strings, so the B and the E, because they're plain steel, like on a, you know, on an electric guitar, they can be a bit louder than the 4 wound strings. And there are sets you can get that are compensated for that. So it's worth looking out for some of those, I would say, particularly if you're going to be playing a lot of kind of low end, kind of solo-y stuff, perhaps. But yeah, I'm going to play out now with a bit of a loop on this. I might move around the ATN settings. I might not. We'll see how I go. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. All the specs and the links to everything are down below, as ever. You know how YouTube works now. I'll see you soon. All right. 1, 2, 3.